Hello, 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 everybody. Thank y'all for coming in on a Wednesday night. We're running this show from down here at the house. So hopefully my internet is going to be fine. Let me know if the internet is messing up on me, if you don't mind, in chat, please. I have to look down to see my chat down here, so if y'all don't mind, let me know. Thank y'all for coming in. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up, share, and I will appreciate it. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I had a little surprise yesterday evening. Mr. Chris Souders done a video and went over the Patriot floats. I did not know he was doing that. Kind of caught me by surprise, but I'm glad he did. I enjoyed the live feed. I didn't get to see it live, but I did enjoy it. But tonight, we're going to go over a little bit of it. I'll be making floats, and y'all give me a shout if y'all are hearing everything good. And oh, thank you there, real gals. That's what's on the back of it, if you can see it. Hopefully one day I can get some made and start selling them. What's up, Avid? So let me go back through here and call out some names. This is Mr. Muskrat, Fishing for Freedom. Lance, the Hawaiian fisherman, Fishing in Freedom. Real Gals Fishing. Let's see. There's Mr. Wampus Cat, Paul Frick. Jay's Catfishing. Joe Buck, what's up, buddy? I hope you're doing good. Avid. Dan Thompson. All right, guys and gals. I do appreciate each and every one of you, the support. There's Mark, Catfishing Crappy. Appreciate each and every one of you, the support that you've given this channel, the support that you've given me as far as buying my floats and stuff like that. What's up, Richard? I'm doing a little bit of what you told me I needed to do a while back. Back down here DIYing and working at the house a little bit. Okay, I guess my internet's doing good. Ain't nobody said anything otherwise. But and that's part of this catfish community, is each one of us supporting each other, watching videos, watching live feeds, buying product or whatever it is. That's something that we've been good at doing. And hopefully we can continue to do that. Trying to see, make sure anybody else coming here. All right, appreciate y'all sharing this up. But I want to kind of elaborate what Chris was talking about last night on his live feeds. There's so many different techniques on float fishing. And it's blew my mind at how many different ways that y'all have let me know that you use the floats, and the different ways that I would have never thought about. Like Chris was talking about actually putting a float behind a planer board. What's up, Anglerholics? Whisker Dreams, James Kirkpatrick. I would have never thought about that. I mean, I wouldn't. I would have been running planer boards the same way we always do, and would have never thought about putting a float out behind them. Because most of the time, if I'm going to do it, I do it like Junior Proctor does and pull them straight behind the boat, because it works. But thinking outside the box, sometimes we'll put fish in the boat when nothing else will. I've seen days when, well, it's just like chicken. We're, as catfishermen, we're used to using cut baits, live baits, whatever's natural to the water. Now, when we first got started fishing, most of us used night crawlers, chicken livers, and baits like that. I don't ever remember using just plain chicken. What's up, Catman Do Outdoors? Ain't seen you in a while. And Nat Morgan, Hillbilly Moonshiners. What's going on, my friend? So, drawn style, semi-bait into clip, drop the bait straight down on the log jams. Yep, muskrat, that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm gonna start bringing short videos out. I'm going to start producing some more videos, guys and gals. And I want your opinion on them. I want to start bringing out short videos. And let me cut this off a second up here, chat. Anyway, I can't do it. I'm scared I'm gonna knock y'all off. Is Chunky in there? Oh, there's Chucky Morgan. I'm sorry, I said Chunky. So I want to start bringing the short videos, the shorts. I think that's what they call them on YouTube, shorts. Is that something that y'all would be interested in? And what I thought about doing is making some short videos on different techniques that people use float fishing. What's up, moonlight fishing? Guys and gals, if you see new names in here, and it might not be new to you, but some of them's new to me. If you see these new names in here, check out their channel. Share the love, share the bait. Each one of you can do a little more to help each other out. And that's including me too. I stay so busy that I miss a lot of y'all's shows. I miss a lot of y'all's videos. It ain't that I don't want to support you. I do. What's up, Twisted Fishing? Thank you last night. My planer board clips do have the rubber inside of them. So letting you know that. But so the short videos I want to do. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I see a lot of people looking at those shorts. I see a lot of people producing the short videos. What's up, Amy Evans? So it'd be short, but it'd be packed full. Yeah, I haven't either, Twisted. I think what it was just so dark in his garage that with these black clips, he was just not able to see them. But I want to make them short, but I want to make them information packed so you can get something from it. And if you're out on the water, you can pull up YouTube, watch a 1, 2, 3 minute video, find out what you need to find out, and go on. So what I'll probably do is break it down into sections of 2 or 3 techniques, or even if it's a long kind of drawn out technique, then I'll elaborate and only do it as one technique for one short. Because y'all have taught me. What's up, John Patrick Jr.? Y'all have taught me a lot about float fishing that I would have never thought about. I mean, it's dragging up and down river channels, suspending baits off the side of river channels. Of course, I'm going to throw it over brush or around brush and shallow water fishing and stuff like that. But they are so much more, just like what I said, the bobber behind the planer board. Never would have thought about that. The way Junior Proctor drags his baits straight behind his boat. I just dragged bait straight behind the boat before he taught me how to do that. And by doing that, you got to have the mega pack with the dragging clip on, with the planer board clip on them. But you can add a planer board clip to the floats that you already have. This little eyelet light right here will allow you to do so. I don't know. I don't have a green screen so you can see it. And I brought some fishing line. Like last night, he didn't explain how to attach because he had never seen none of these types of clips. Junior Proctor's the one that turned me on, and these are what I call the Blue Dog drifting caps. But your fishing line, let me get it over here where you can see it dark, and these little bitty clips, yeah, they're small, especially if you got big hands, but they're easy to put on and take off. You got your loop, you put it right there and click, and guess what? You're on. and it's the same way coming off. You just pop it on, pop it off, and I promise you, this clip will not let go. You won't lose your float running down the water and get away from you. These clips do hold. Yeah, you're right, Frank. If you do run braid, your braid will have a tendency, especially if you don't have a good, strong clip. And some of these clips are actually, I think, made more towards a braided line. Maybe it's got a softer compound or rubber in it. I don't know. But these right here are good and strong. And a float don't really pull that hard against your line. What's up, Carolina Cat Daddy? It don't really pull that hard against your line. So the likelihood of it pulling loose ain't really there. All right, now he showed last night, if I can squeeze that cotton picking thing, it's got a little clip in there. Let's see if I can get close enough that you can see it. See that little clip inside? And he showed putting behind it, but he could not get it to adhere to the front of it. Well, if you stick it in there where I can see, and I can see it good, you see it's in there. And it's got a hold of it. Now, is it strong like maybe some of the more high dollar clips? Probably not. But it pops right out. And that's what I'm getting ready to talk to you about, why that is important. Junior Proctor, we're going to put it on. These are the green floats. And if you notice, I'm changing them up a little bit. You won't have much top sticking out of them anymore with these new floats. What he does is when he goes down to the Santee Cooper River, he'll mark him some structure, and then he'll pull his boat up above that structure and pay attention how far he gets away from it. And then he anchors up. What's up, Crappy Dave? He anchors up. Well, then he will put his bait, suspend his bait underneath this float, but instead of going behind the pin, he'll put it in front of the pin. Just like I showed you a second ago. Put it in front of the pin, and then he'll allow that float to carry his bait back to that structure. What's up, squirrel? Back to the structure. And once he gets back there to the structure, of course you've got, all right, I got it on that line, and then you're going to put it through this clip. You will be using your planer board clip and your swivel clip. So it'll be setting up like that. But when his bait gets to where he needs it to be, he'll pop that line, the planer board clip comes loose. Now this bobber, all it does is slide up and down the line. The bobber is no longer being used, and the only thing that bobber was used for at that time is just bait placement. Nothing else. He uses it to place his bait exactly where he wants it. Whether it's in front of structure, behind structure, off a river channel edge, or whatever, or even a weed line, like down there in some of the Santee Cooper, the river part of it, you get down there around the rice fields and stuff like that, there's a lot of, what's up, Tiger? A lot of times there's some good fishing right along those weed lines where the weeds are no longer growing, the water drops a little bit deeper. You can run baits right down the side of that in the current and pick up some cotton picking good fish. And it can be a very productive day doing that. And the other technique is the drifting technique. And if any of you that is not subscribed to Junior Proctor, he's almost at 1,000, guys. Go in there tonight, give him a shout. Let's try to get him to 1,000. The man catches fish. He don't mind sharing information. He'd go out of his way to help each and every one of us. So let's get him up there to 1,000. But his drifting technique, he basically does the same thing as what he does with planer boards. Throws his baits way out, let them hit the bottom, Then he clips thank you, Roger. Then he clips his planer board clips and his other clip on, and he just pulls them behind the boat like he does the planer boards. Now, but he allows them to go way out back, long lining. And since he's got that new Garmin, he's noticed that when he passes over some fish that's right around the boat, they seem to scatter a little bit. But after a little bit, those fish start coming back in there. They was there for a reason, whether it was traveling to bait or whether they just hunker down and waiting on bait to come to them. And if that's the case, they're going to come back because food's there or structure's there. So the times those bobbers, the boat gets gone, things quiet back down, all of a sudden here comes a couple baits. And the bobbers are picking them up. My child doing flow fishing on a creek, walking rigs into holes. All right, Twisted, we'll go check that out, Frank. He's got a video, if y'all see him in chat, on creek fishing. Those techniques work very well, especially for bank fishermen. There are so many techniques. People say, well, I can't do but so much off a bank. Well, it depends on if you're in the lake or if you're in a river. If you're in a lake and you got a little bit of wind, let that wind, what's up, Jim? You can let that wind carry that float and your bait on further out than what you could probably cast it. Or if you're in a spot that you can't do a lot of long distance casting, or if you can't get to a certain spot and you got just a little bit of current, like Wiley, we get a little bit of current. If they're pulling water or whatever, we'll get a little bit of current. Or if different times, there'll be different currents. They pull a lot of water, you get a good bit of current. And then when they shut it off, you'll get a back current. Well, some of the spots I like to bank fish from, you can't really make good long casts. It's hard for bait placement with a longer rod. And most of us bank fishing like to take our longer rods. I usually carry my 10-foot rods. But in that case, if I go to that one certain spot, I'll take my 7.5 footers, and I'll allow that bobber to float and carry my bait down the bank. Don't throw to the center of the water all the time, guys. We out on the boat, we're throwing towards the bank. Not all the time, it depends on where they're at. I'm going to start doing some heavy flathead hunting. And the reason I said hunting is you got to catch them to be fishing, but I want to hunt them. To me, it's all about the hunt. Shallow water, shallow water, shallow water, structure and shallow water. So if you don't have a boat and you're bank fishing, then allow the floats, yes, 2 foot off the bank. I've caught them, but I've thrown them up on my bait up on the bank and pulled it right off the edge and caught. In fact, my largest flathead come just a foot off the bank. The bait hit the bank, I pulled it right off the edge of the water, and about 45 minutes later, the world broke loose. There's Irvin. What's going on, my friend? So think outside the box. Whether you use my floats or anybody else's floats, guys, floating baits can benefit you so much. It's just another tool in your arsenal bag. Now, river time. Depends on how active you want to be. In a river bank fishing, you can basically, there's so many different ways. The first one I want to discuss is like putting out a planer board. Throw your long line out with your drifting weight and throw it upriver, clip your float on. Allow your bait, your drifting sinker, to bump along the bottom to slow your float down. Because if you got it suspended, you might have more current and it will drag it faster than what you want it to do. That way you might end up having to play with a little bit of the weight to slow it down or speed it up. If you need to speed it up, of course you go with less weight or a different type of drifting sinker. You might have to go with a longer one that bumps along, or you might have to go with the little pencil weights. It's all of what you want that bait to do. Situations like that, I like a Kentucky rig. My lead on the bottom, 2 hooks up top. That float will keep that bait up and down in the water column as it's bumping down the lake. But if your current ain't real strong, then you're basically letting that float do what we do on boats, and that's drag your baits. It's a little bit more work, but it can be very, very productive. It can put your bait in places that you normally can't get it into. If you got channel edges that's close by, and it's that time of year, summertime, whatever, we tend to have a lot more fish that suspend. Usually, to me, it's right after the spawn, I catch most of my suspended fish. Then, if the current ain't too strong, then you can suspend baits underneath your float, throw it the same way upriver, and let the river carry it down. Get a drink of my coffee, guys. And on them short videos, I'm going to break out my whiteboard so I can do some illustrations and kind of explain, especially to some people that's just now getting into fishing or just now getting into float fishing, these techniques can really benefit you. They're great shallow water fish, throwing them up in shallow water, letting that bait swim around, especially live baits. But also, when you're float fishing in a river, you hear people talking all the time about eddies, back eddies, where the current runs backwards. You heard Chris talk about it last night, allowing that float to carry your bait up, and then it'll turn, and then it'll come back towards you. If you can find spots like that ain't so full of structure, then look how much water you're covering. You're covering some killer water for one thing, because you're right there on a seam. But at the same time, you could possibly run it down 100 acres, 100 yards, and then it come back another 100 yards. What's up, Freddie? So think outside the box, guys. And for those of you that do have my floats, hooks and hammock, that do have my floats, please, 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 when you're catching some fish, please send me some pictures and videos. I'm working on a video, I guess a commercial video. And I don't want the commercial video having my face in it. I would rather have y'all's faces and videos and pictures in that commercial. So if you have them, please send them to me. Carolina Cat Daddy, you could be using them right now. A lot of people, and that's one other thing that I was wanting to say. Float fishing can be done year round, not just hot weather, not just shallow water. That can be used year round. Junior Proctor drags them year round. Maybe slows the speed down a little bit, but they can be used year round, whether you dragging baits or placing baits. Or how many times have you been out on the water looking at your graph going up a river channel and seeing suspended fish halfway in between the top of the river channel and the bottom of the river channel running that channel edge? You can pull up, especially those that have anchor lock trolling motors. What's up, Chad? The anchor lock trolling motors, then you can anchor lock right on that channel edge, pitch your bobber out, have it set at that certain depth of what you're marking fish at, and then allow the wind or the current to carry that float right down that river channel edge. And guys, when you do it, hang on, because it's getting ready to get real. Yeah, real gals, I can't wait for you to use them. Please send me some pictures and some videos. I love to have them. I like to look at them too, post them up on the Patriot Float page on Facebook for those of you that have Facebook. But that's just a few different techniques. And guys, just don't think outside the box. Float fishing, think outside the box anytime that today is looking rough. The fish just ain't wanting to cooperate. You're marking fish. From now on, when I go, I'm going to carry me a big bucket of night crawlers and a big bucket of chicken livers. I'm not going to be casting them, but them days when I'm marking big fish and nothing's biting and I can't get them to bite no matter what kind of live or cut bait I put down, I'm going to drop a big old wad of night crawlers and a big old wad of chicken livers on there just to see. I've got to, what's up, Mike Irvin? I've got to know if that'll take place, if a big fish will take it. I'm sure they will, but I haven't confirmed it yet. So when I'm talking about marking big fish without a ton of little fish around. Because you know, if you drop a worm or a night crawler down, a worm or a chicken liver down, and there's some dinks around, the big fish will never get to see it. They will eat it up before it ever gets to them. Any questions? Any questions? So anyway, I'm sitting here making up some floats. Got a bunch of empty ones I got cut. Carolina catfish, what's going on? So I'm sitting here gluing up, making the tops, putting lights. Finally got a bunch of parts in, waiting on a bunch more parts to keep this thing rolling, but I think we're doing good. Do all y'all that's in here, and I'm pretty sure because most of you I've seen for a while, know about using the bobber stops. Hooks. Okay. I'm glad you asked that, Mike. Got some people that use circle hooks with them. And I've got some people that use big J hooks. Underneath the float, depends on the technique that I'm using. If I am suspending baits, I will throw the Gamakatsu big game J hooks. Because truthfully, I miss setting that hook. I mean, you could probably go with those hybrid hooks. That's kind of a J circle hook style hook. I've heard that you can actually set the hook with those. I don't know. I don't have any of them, so I don't know how that works. If you've actually got to let it start loading up before you put the metal to him. Yes, I'll do that hooks and hammock. That's why I brought my line and stuff in here. Let me go get a sinker and a swivel. I'll be right back. Y'all talk among yourselves. Yep, wrong one. Sorry about that, guys and gals. I got in there and grabbed the wrong pack and had to go back and get the other one. All right, any more questions? Fishing and Freedom, the planer board clips, and I'm gonna show you what I got. These was ordered last November. I got them last week. I ordered 500 and I got 200. So, no, I hate to tell you no, but I would really cut myself short because I don't know when I'll get the other ones in. Let's see. You use the Big River J hooks. Yeah. Yeah. I grab a hat and I try to show every one of you support. There's Mr. Lyles in the house with us tonight. Okay. Drift and Sinker. Somebody makes these and I can't remember who sent me these. I can't remember. And I apologize if you in chat and you sent me these long black ones. I apologize that I don't remember exactly who it was. All right, let me get some of this out of my way. Get on a roll. Let's put a light in here where you can see it. You see, look here. This is what I done yesterday. That's 150 green smalls. Okay, so let's hook it up. Line coming from the rod and reel. Alrighty. I use a bobber stop. And where's my clasp? Okay. Everybody knows what bobber stops are. And I'm looking for a big bead with a small hole in it, guys. If y'all happen to come across it, because I don't like using two beads, but right now we have to because I can't find no beads with small holes in them. So you have to use a small bead and a larger bead. So it will stop your hasp from sliding up your line over top of your knot. I'm getting ready to make a mess. Y'all bear with me, I'm fumble fingered tonight. All right, first thing you stick on there is your bobber stop knot. Slide it up on your line, pull the knot off your little tube, like so. Throw your little tube away, your knot's on your line, and pull it tight. You don't have to lock it down so tight that it don't want to move. And if you got a little bit too tight, just wet it a little bit, and then that knot will slide. Then you add your small bead first, then your large bead. All right, guys, and the rest is up to you. Whatever rig you decide to tie. Me, what I tie next is just a 100-pound barrel swivel. I use the uni knot, and a lot of people use different knots, but I use the uni knot. That's the one I love. That's the one I trust. You know how to do it. If you don't, learn how to use this knot, tie this knot. It is so easy that you can tie it in the dark. I can close my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Each, and pull it tight, and you're done. And of course, no scissors and knives. Anyway, I'll leave it on there. All right, you're set up. You got your bobber stop, you got your beads, and then You can clip on your dragging weight onto your line. Then you can tie your leader from here out here to your hook. However long you choose to run leaders, it depends. Let the fish tell you what. If they're active enough, you might want to go with a shorter leader. If they're suspended up off the bottom and you need to run a Santee rig to get your bait up, then you might want to run a longer leader. All right, there it is. You're hooked. If you want this bait to go down and you want to float it straight up and down, set your knot at whatever depth you need. Of course, your beads will stay down here. You set your knot, it'll reel up into your spool on your reel. When you get ready to cast, when you get ready to put your float on, make sure these beads go toward the bobber stop. Let me get a regular one. The small. Let's turn her on to get the full effect. All right. You seen the little clip? And all you got to do is reach like this right here, guys. My thumb, my fingers, and clip it on. And then this bobber is going to stop at the bobber stop, and then it's just going to slide. Easy, easy peasy. And then when you don't want to use the bobber no more, you just pull it off. That simple, guys. That little clip right there makes putting them on and taking them off so freaking easy. What's up, Team Camo? I tried to make these things as fisher friendly as I could. Make it simple. I use the KISS method. Keep it simple. So there you go, guys. That is just one of the rigs that you can use. You can actually tie a Kentucky rig, which is, I use a 2-hook rig, especially like wintertime when you need multiple baits, smaller baits, and you want it to sit out there. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put a live bait on the top hook, some of the smaller live baits, and then I'll put a cut bait on the bottom. So you're actually getting scent into the water, but you're also getting, what's up, Catfishing with Cost? I think it's, if I ain't looking right, there's Alan's in the house with us tonight. Appreciate y'all coming in. Don't forget, guys, hit the thumbs up, share if you want to, like it, share the love, share the bait with a lot of people that's in here. It's quite a few new names that I've seen come in chat tonight. Thank y'all. Mr. Junior Proctor, thank you for coming in. I know you're tired. Your tail's tired, buddy. But with the Mega Pack, that is the only way that you can get the Blue Dog drifting clips, drifting tops. Junior Proctor, thank you so much. There's Mr. Fishing Fetishes in the house. Maybe later on, once this product, I could speed up production on it, I might eventually end up selling these with a light in them. But as of right now, I can only offer them with the Mega Packs. But if you need to add them clips on there, Junior uses a key ring, the little key rings, the little small ones, to attach his. That's how he first showed me to do it. When I started building these, I needed a little bit more space, easier to put on and take off in case something happens to the clip. You just pop your swivel loose right here, and you can change that clip. Easy peasy. And I promise you guys, you will not tear up these centers. And if the pool noodle gets all tore up, hold up a second. If the pool noodle gets all tore up, these are not heat sealed yet. Then all you do is take your knife, cut that rascal up, pull that pool noodle off of it, go to Walmart, to any of your hardware stores, and get that right there, E6000. That is a 6, I'm sorry. That's E6000, not E9000. This is a waterproof, clear adhesive. I use it on my wetsuits, gold mining. I use it on to seal up my dredges. I use it to, we put them on our knee pads on our wetsuits and also on our fingers on our gloves. Because when you're gold mining, you're handling all that gravel and grit and stuff, it'll really wear neoprene out. This stuff right here is tough. I got a wetsuit I've had for almost 10 years and the knee pads are still on it. And it's made just completely out of this stuff right here. Great stuff. So that's the glue that I put the pool noodles on the inserts, and they won't come off. They will not come off. So any questions? Any questions? Any questions? And if you're in here and you hadn't let me know about coming to my tournament, please let me know, and I would appreciate it. Any questions on any techniques of, I don't want to give away a whole lot tonight because I am going to be bringing out some short videos and I want you to watch them because I'll be throwing in a couple, just a couple little tips and tricks that I might not explain to you right now, or I might not even be thinking about it. That's probably going to be by next week, muskrat. I've had, it's been over a year since I've been fishing and I miss it. I need to get back on the water. Roger, me and you talked. I've covered up with a lot of stuff to get done. Health is not the best right now, guys and gals, but we definitely going to be there. The tournament hooks and hammock is April the 16th. We'll be putting out on the South Carolina side of Lake Wiley at the Buster Board Bridge. Launch time is at 7 a.m. That is after the flag raising and the national anthem is played. I know, Roger, I miss it so bad. But I'm telling you guys, the gold bugs are biting me right now hard because gold is staying over 1,900 an ounce. So it's hard not to go to the creek to go gold mining with that price like that. There's Kelly. Kelly, I apologize last night, buddy. I did not get home in time to jump on there with you. Let's plan to do that again another time. You're going to have another great show in a week or so. We're going to have 3 guests on at one time. And it's just going to be a fun night. We might talk a little fishing. We might talk a little BS. But we're going to have fun. The old man with the kid's height. There's a bunch of them, Freddie. I got to noticing something. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Team Camo, you're exactly right. It is so hard when my gold creek is just a couple miles away from me. It makes it easy to want to go jump in that water. What's up, catfish? Catfish fever and outdoors. Thank you, my friend. I want to say something, guys and gals. Something was told to me the other day. I was getting on somebody about not flying the American flag at home. And I mean, it was all in fun and joking. But I was told not everybody can be as patriotic as Patriot James. And you know what my reply was why not? Why not? That's, hopefully all of us in here tell a veteran when we see them, shake their hand, thank them, hug a neck, and say, thank you for your service. But let me tell you something right now. The best way to thank them is to be an American, to be a proud American. Fly your colors and stand up for your rights. When they see people doing that, that is the best thank you that you can give them. I run into a veteran day before yesterday. I got up that morning and I smoked, and I thought I had a pack of cigarettes here at the house, and I didn't. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, I took off to the store right quick, and I run into a veteran. And he might be watching tonight. If he is, sir, I'm not going to mention your name. I would never do that. But it broke my heart. And I hope he can get to a better place. But with that being said, there's a lot of them like that. That is not in a good place mentally. Some of them mentally and physically. Give them an avenue to get help. Let them know that they never have to hang their head again. They can stand up proud that you've got their back. And no matter what it takes, if they need a ride, if they need fed, if they need shelter, let's help them. Let's find a place for them. Let's get this done, guys and gals. We couldn't do what we do without them. But same being said, with our paramedics, with our police and our fire, truck drivers, all the way down, like I said last time on the show, the paramedics is on the front line. Wampus Cat, my wife, a lot of other ones. You got nurses like Betty and quite a few others. Paula. They've all been on the front line during all this COVID and all this other mess. So they deserve a thank you too. They deserve you to stop long enough to buy them lunch. Pick up the bill at the table, and you don't have to tell them who done it. I like to do it anonymously because, hey, I don't want the pat on the back. I don't want to thank you. I want them to know that we as Americans are proud of them and thank them for what they've done for us. All right, I'll get off that. I got on a roll because y'all know me. I love it. Appreciate you coming in, Catfish Fever. Now, when y'all are using y'all's drifting sinkers and you're using, how many in here besides Junior Proctor, I know he does, uses the floats with drifting sinkers? Uses the floats with drifting sinkers, or do most of you suspend your baits? Let me know. There's my big game. The Gamakatsu big game. And see, they got a little bit of turn on them. Suspend. What's up, Mr. Warskow? Give me a call tomorrow, my friend. I got to talk to you about something you suspend. And a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It helps get your bait to where you want, especially when the catfish is spin. You pull drifting sticks. All right, these are the ones that I got right here are basically like a drifting stick. Dang, I wished I could remember who sent them to me. Both ways, but primarily with dragging weights. Yeah, Freddie, you learned from Junior Proctor on how to drag with them. But, all right, lively baits. Suspending live baits. To me, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I hear you. Team Camo. You made some out of the clear 3/8 tube and out of small cork or dragon shads. There you go. Well, I just had a brain fart. Oh, suspending live baits. I know all of us throwing bait casters, longer rods, or whatever. We've got to where we started using bigger sinkers. I never in my wildest dreams in my catfishing days, earlier days, before I was actually chasing monsters. I was looking for monsters, but I wasn't actually chasing monsters. But now we're throwing leads all the way up to Depends on the river, but most lakes, mostly 2 to 3, maybe 4 ounces at most. You exactly right, Muskrat. But we're using heavier and heavier leads. You get longer cast, but with a float, you don't necessarily have to have, thank you, Annette, you don't necessarily have to have all that weight. I know catfish, when they're feeding, they're not really shy about weight, line, or anything else. But to me, when I'm live bait fishing, I try to allow that bait to be presented as natural as it can be, but wounded. And if you remember last night, Chris talking about allowing that bait to swim down beside those barges, that bait is as in natural habitat or as natural presentation as it can get. But with that hook stuck in him and that float holding him up and holding him back a little bit, then it's going to make him do some irregular stuff, which makes that fish seem injured, which draws attention. I chunk a 16 in a lot of places. 16 ounces? Oh, you fishing some heavy current like Lyle and them do. Well, but these, and I say new, it's the same as the old ones. I was able to add almost another inch of flotation to them. I've got to see how much weight these are going to hold up. The other ones, I wouldn't have thrown more than an 8-ounce sinker on them, maybe a 9. But in that heavy rivers, then hopefully these right here will suspend a little bit more. It's got a little bit more flotation in there. So hopefully that will do what you need to do. But I guess with the 16 ounces, you're trying to keep that bait straight up and down and in place where you want it. If I'm wrong, let me know. Because I assume this is Brian on there, right? Team Camo. I lost my train of thought. There was something else I was getting ready to talk to you about. But is my chat stuck? Okay, that's what I was thinking, Brian. Rivers can be, you can still, if you don't want to fish that current or you do want to use floats, like I said, go behind the wing dams where you got back eddies and stuff like that. That float will allow you probably to place a bait that you can't even cast it to. Floating live bait and cut baits to undercut banks. Amazing technique doing that. Them old big flatheads will lay up and underneath them banks and stuff until time to feed or waiting on bait. You let that barber drag that bait right up against one of those holes and hang on. Warning alert, warning alert, warning alert. Float fishing is addictive, but you kind of got to keep your eye on it if you're fishing heavy structure. Because if you don't, you know what he's going to do. He's going to come up, grab your bait, and drag your float, bait, and all right back down into the structure. One good thing about nighttime and a lit float, you're going to see that move pretty easy. So that's just giving you a warning. That's just like freelining. I love to freeline big bait heads. Big ones. I love it. I tie a hook, a leader, a barrel swivel, and then to my main line. That's all I put on it. And I use J hooks. I do not use circle hooks when I'm freelining, but you have to be a line watcher. But let me tell you a little secret that I've never heard anybody else, and I know that there's a couple people that do Freeline. Chat Cats does. He does a lot of Freeline, especially even with chicken. Give you a little bitty secret. A little secret. Dang, I can't get my daggum numbers up. It drives me crazy. Y'all must not like me no more. Anyway, so what I do when I'm freelining, I will put this cork on there. Oop. Ah, dang it. I'll put a cork on it. I do not peg it. I don't put the peg in there and stop it from sliding. I just let it slide down to the barrel swivel. And then when you cast that bait out, freelining, this is going to be sliding up and down your line. But guess what it's going to do? It's going to show you where your line is. What's up, Kyle? It's going to show you where your line is. Ain't got nothing to do with the flotation of the float. All it is a line indicator. And then it makes it a lot easier to find out where your bait is. Because a lot of times they'll carry that bait right back towards your boat and swim underneath your boat. And if you don't see that line move, most of the time you're going to end up losing that fish, or he's going to wrap you up and make a mess. And you don't want to do that, because we lose enough rigs and hooks and tackle as it is going in after them on structure. So that's just some of my little tidbits of information that I wanted to share with you. And there's a couple people that's coming out with some hooks. I think Mr. Warskow is going to be having some of the hybrid hooks or whatever, and I want to try them. I really do. I want to see if those hybrid hooks can really be set. You know, put the daggum stick of steel in his jaw. Oh yeah, real gals. I try to share every bit of information that I've learned, things that I've done, but also things that I haven't even got to try yet, but I trust the information and whom I've got it from. Freelining is something I've done for many a year. Shallow water, deep water. I used to use it a lot around some bridges when I used to do a lot of bank fishing underneath the bridges. Now you can't get to them to bank fish unless you park your boat. What I would do was throw my baits up creek and allow them to just kind of meander down through the current to give it the most natural presentation, no weight or nothing on there. But please, when you do that, watch your line, because you do have a higher percentage chance of that catfish swallowing that hook. That is the only downside about freelining, is that you need to watch your line so we don't gut hook the fish. Because none of us want to hook it. Now, if you're gutting hooking smaller fish, take them home, eat them. Don't waste them. Same way with my tournament. If you got a fish that is really struggling, I would prefer you not bring it to the scales. I mean, there's no money on the line. I'd prefer you not bring it to the scale. Take a picture of it, wet in your boat or whatever, and then we'll figure out what we need to do with the fish, because I really don't want pictures of dead fish floating around after the tournament's been there. No, I haven't tried any of those. I haven't tried any of the new circle. They're super circle hooks. There's so many different styles of hooks out there. What's up, PD? PD's coming to fish it. But so I haven't had a chance to try them all. And my tail ain't had a chance to do much fishing here lately. But I promise you guys and gals, I'm coming back, and coming back with a gusto. Any questions, guys and gals? Hold on a second. Let me show you how bright this thing is for those of you that don't have none. Can you see that? you think you can see that out on the water? And I really wasn't here to promote my floats tonight, guys and gals. I was here just to try to help y'all learn new techniques and new things that you can try, especially during them days when you just can't figure out how to get those fish to bite. And there's days like that. There's days that you're going to mark a ton of fish and they just won't cooperate. They just won't give it up for nothing. And to me, I always figured they just got through eating. And their bellies are full. They fat and sassy and ready to lay down and take them a nap until it's time to feed again. Because I hear you fishing at Freedom. Thank you. Yeah, the pink ones. The first time Betty Cross got some pink ones, and she sent me a picture of that pink float that was way down the river from them, and it amazed me at how that pink stood out. I've got to get some made, PD. I just last time I had a whole bunch of shirts made, and people said they was wanting them, but the price of them they wasn't wanting to pay it, so I ended up wearing the shirts myself. But that's okay. I wore them. So, you ain't going broke because they're shirts, you wear them. Yeah, I just had another brain fart. I have a lot of them here lately. What was I saying, guys and gals? I try to cover so much and then I get off track. Oh, well. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh. Some areas, my bait doesn't stay long enough for catfish because of the bowfin. Oh, I hear you. Now, buddy, I don't know what to tell you about that because, thank you, real gals, about that because bowfin is a predator. And he is the DNA of bowfins goes way, way, way back. And I don't know. I think the only thing you're going to be able to do is change locations. Yes. Your depth finder, a lot of times it depends on what kind of depth finder you got and what your settings, you can set your settings on. Sometimes in fish is hard to see when they're laying down in the mud. At that time, to me, is location, location, location. Otherwise, you try to put the bait on their nose. Because if they're laying in that mud, they're not going to move far. They're not. They're laying there for a reason. They might be sitting in the perfect location where 4, 5, 6 times a day a ball of shad comes through, or a ball of white perch, or any kind of bait fish, even crappie, largemouth, especially in the wintertime, largemouth, bluegill, crappie will ball up. Largemouth and bluegill and spotted bass will school up on humps out in your main water. Learn a lot of that from years of bass fishing. I throwed a big Carolina rig with a long leader and pulling rubber lizards, worms, and stuff like that off of deep humps. And more times than not, I caught catfish doing that with a rubber lizard or a rubber worm. So learning the bottom can be just as important as learning your fish. Thank you, Joe Buck. I appreciate you coming in, my friend. Take care of yourself. And we'll see you next week, if not sooner. Take it off simulator mode. Learning your bottom. Learning what to feel on the bottom of that lake can also increase your numbers of fish. if the fish are heavily feeding on mussels, and mussels are usually, when you find a mussel bed, it's usually a pretty good sized mussel bed. We talked one time before in one of the shows about learning to read your lakes and water. The bank, what's up, Uncle Lou? The bank can tell you a lot of times that there's a mussel bed close. You'll see a lot of mussel shells washed up on the shore and stuff. But what I always like to do is I got an old bass rod and reel that I've used for years, old Quantum, that's still smooth as glass, but I will tie up a Texas rig worm. And for those of you that's never really bass fished that much, a Texas rig worm is a bullet weight, a hook, and a worm. You set it up weedless, and then if you think you're in the neighborhood of a mussel bed, but you want to make sure you're right on it, because a lot of times you can't see them on graphs, throw that worm out and start working it. I usually like throwing them big 10, 12-inch worms. If you'll bump it, a lot of times you'll hook a shell for one thing, but you will start learning to feel, especially you got a good sensitive rod, you will start learning the feel of shell, of mud, of silt, of a hard rocky bottom, or whatever. That bullet weight worm, you can work it through a lot of different stuff, wood, rock, whatever. This way, it trains I always closed my eyes when I was learning a new area. Throw it out, and I would close my eyes, and I would try to picture that bottom as I work that rubber worm or lizard or whatever you have tied on it. So by doing that, and of course, a lot of times you get thumped hard. Old catfish will grab it, largemouth. I've even caught some 1-pound brim on a 10-inch rubber worm, and other fish too. But once you start learning that, then if you find that mussel bed, make sure you mark it on your graph or on your Navionics or on a notepad, like Matthew Anthony says. Take notes, make you a journal. That journal can be your best friend. Thank you, Squirrel. Yeah, I love them. I love my logo. The lady that done my shirts and stuff. She's actually the one that designed my logo for the floats. Now, y'all know Frank Neely is the one that done my Patriot Catfishers logo, and he nailed it. He nailed exactly what I was looking for. But anyway, back to fishing. So I know we give bass fishermen a hard time calling them ditch pickles and all, and I do. And in North Carolina, I can use largemouth as bait, and it actually is one of my favorite baits. Now, I would never take a trophy fish. I would never, I wouldn't. I wouldn't kill a trophy fish. I respect the fish and the fishermen too much for that. But that type of fishing can really tell you a lot, especially a bank fisherman. Carry you a bass rod and reel, some bullet weights, hooks, and worms. I like Zoom, but there's so many different kinds now, it's crazy. But before you set up, guys and gals, don't take but a few minutes to take that bass rig, Texas worm, throw it out there, and work it all over where you're going to be casting for catfish. Learn what's on that bottom. You might have a rock pile sitting out there that's covered in fish, but you never knew it because you didn't know what the bottom held for you. But once you learn what you're feeling through that rod, because most time if you're bank fishing, you can't see the bottom unless you got one of those floating fish detectors, and I don't know how accurate or good those are. I've never owned one, so I cannot give you an opinion, yay or nay on. But the best way to learn the bottom is to feel it. If you can't see it, feel it. And that's my recommendation, guys and gals. There's so many little different tricks like that you can take to the water with you, and take a bad day and make it a good day, or take a decent day and make it a great day. And then again, there's going to be days that it don't make a crap what you do. You're going to have a bad day, but it's still a better day than being at work, or it's still a good day. You're still out on God's good green earth on the water, being blessed by what he give us all. So with that being said, I had a blast with y'all tonight. We'll be having guests next week. Yep, you can do that. Want to be outdoors. I used to do it with a pig and jig all the time, because that pig usually pretty heavy, and catfish like crawdads. Catfish love crawdads. They'll crush them to some of the guns. So, guys and gals, thank you very much. If you're coming to the tournament in a month and a half, please let me know ahead of time so I can get your name wrote down. If you've got an open boat that we can put a veteran on, please let me know that also. Please let me know that you can make room for veterans. We got quite a few I know is coming to the tournament this year, so I won't be sending anybody out on the water without a partner. So, that being said, God bless y'all. God bless America. And for those of you that can't come to the tournament but you still want to help, go to Camp Centurion's website, Facebook page. They got places to make donations, and donate, guys. I went by there yesterday. Me and Bud met. Camp Centurion is getting closer. The gravel's been laid. The driveway's been put in. All the walls are framed up. We got the stuff for the plumbing, and we've got the stuff for the electricians, but we're waiting on the contractors to come and do that before the next inspections due. God bless you. God bless America. And let's pat our EMS, police, fire, and our military, whether retired or active duty or getting ready to go in. Let them know that you're proud of them, you think about them, and you love them. Good night, everybody. God bless.